We don't focus in on the road design. I'm going to go to my display settings. I'm going to turn off the potable water, surface drainage, foul water. I don't need to export to any other software program. I simply go and select the roads mode. The menus will change. And before we do the design, I'm going to show you that if we go to the option settings, you can design up to 2,500 roads within a single civil designer project. Some of our clients have designed up to 400 kilometers on a single road without the use of XREFs. I'm opting to use the interactive road expert. That road expert would guide me through the design process in a similar manner. If I'm done with the design and I need to revert back to any stage of my design, Civil Designer will then recalculate the road for me. There's different ways that you can do your road design. In this example, I'm going to utilize this red dash CAD line and pick up the horizontal alignment. Alternatively, if you don't have CAD entities representing your alignment, you can go to alignment horizontal and then manually graphically insert your PI points. Before we do the design, I'm going to go to File, select Road File. This information dialog appears. These are all the roads within our project, giving us information when they were last modeled, if you use the design criteria, what speed that would be, and then looking at the surfaces and the different layers. This will assist you in keeping your standards uniform. I've created a road here called Demo Road, which is incomplete. Looking at the control panel, you can give it a specific customized name, specify which generation design method you'd like to use, specify your template, and this is what the road would look like in cross-section. I'll go into more detail as far as templates is concerned at a later stage. It picks up the template dimensions and populates the information here below. You can choose to use a certain design criteria from the start of the design or utilize it at a later stage. Looking at the layers, we give you 128 different cross-sectional layers to use within a single road. And that would be things like your surfacing, your base, your sub-base, your subgrade. It's easy to customize the display settings and then save it so that should you use it at a later stage, you can go and load it. As with the surveying terrain module, if you want to include extra over excavation volumes, that could all be done at the same time. You would go and activate them here and specify your surfaces to use. Looking at what the current horizontal alignment looks like, everything is blank. We don't pick up the horizontal alignment using the regression functionality. I do so by going to Alignment, Regression, Extract Alignments. It's very easy to swap between a dual or single carriageway. You can pick up all the design elements using this functionality. I want to show you as much design features as possible, so I'm just going to pick up the horizontal alignment. But should you choose to, you can also pick up the vertical alignment as well as the super elevation and pick up road edges from CAD. Civil Designer will ask me to extract the horizontal alignment from. I'm going to select CAD entities, select that red dash line I pointed out earlier, and then for confirmation, I'm going to click on yes. To revert back to that horizontal spreadsheet I showed you before, it is now populated. Even though it is populated, I can still go and make changes to my design. All of these values are customizable. Alternatively, if I go to alignment, horizontal, I do have the option to go and edit the PI points as well as insert my own, delete existing ones and move them. Closing the spreadsheet and then asking Civil Designer's Road Expert to do the rest of the design for me. During this process, it will automatically go and insert junctions or the intersections for us. gone through the entire design process, and straight away I can go and view this in cross-section. So I go to section, graphical edit. I can go and view what it looks like in cross sections. As I press page down on my keyboard, the position of the cross section will update in plan. Take note that the crossing services are also immediately available to us. If you're thinking we've got too much cut, I agree with you. Let's go and make changes to the vertical alignment. I'm going to close this. At any stage in the design, you can go to alignment, select design criteria, specify that you'd like to use the design criteria. At the bottom, we have options of AASHTO, CD109 or TRH. And then you could go and specify which design speed to use. This will be applicable to all the design elements of choice. If we do now go back to the vertical alignment and we make changes so we don't have the cut, it will then populate the vertical alignment information with the design criteria that we specified. If I right click, there's an option of insert PI. I can go and press G on my keyboard, enter. As mentioned, the curve length has been inserted according to the design criteria. Once inserted, I can still right click and I can select move PI and then move that position up and down, left and right. Alternatively, if I'd like to be precise, I can go and select the spreadsheet and go and round my values off. Happy with that, I can go and close it and save it. Civil Designer will recalculate our road using the new vertical alignment information. At this stage, you may want to go and plot your road. Again, in Civil Designer, we've made it easy for you. If you go to Plot, select Generate, specify which customizable sheet file you'd like to use. Looking at the road long sectional setup, we include the option to display crossing pipes. That would be your other services if you'd like to see them on the finished plot. Specify the cross-sectional setup with your own offsets and intervals. If you've got a very long stretch of road, you could ask Civil Designer to automatically pick up the center line of your road and plot along that stretch of road. As we've got a shorter road in this case, and then you redefine all. Moving my cursor to my plot center, and then having the option to rotate my plot. Right click, quit. I'm selecting that I want PI and curve list information. On the top, we've got the plan view, and it's very easy to move these lists. No need to create viewports or mask the background. On the left-hand side, we've got the cut and fill areas. And then looking at the long section, you can go and customize how you'd like this all displayed with your company's title block. These layouts will dynamically update as you make changes to your plot. Reverting back to our design, when we created the road, I mentioned we used templates. We're going to go into more detail as far as templates is concerned. Going to Tools, Template Paths, taking a look at the template that we're currently using for this road. It's very easy to swap between a single or a dual carriageway. Within Civil Designer, you have the option of using 4 different grades if you choose a dual crowned template. Looking at our curbs on our roads, we've got a whole library of curbs that are built into Civil Designer by default. If I select Load Group, we've got the British Standard SABS Vanstone. You can take an existing curb and you can edit the curb and put in your own dimensions, save it, and then utilize it at a later stage. Civil Designer will also calculate the quantities of the curbs for you. Moving on to the pavement layers. Built in by default, if you right click, there's a TRH4 pavement option where you could go and specify your pavement type, climatic region, road category, traffic class, and if you're not quite sure of the class, Civil Designer can calculate it for you. Having selected your traffic class, the different options available will be presented. You then go and select the most appropriate option. Alternatively, if you don't want to use the TRH4 pavements, there is an option of Pavement Designer where you can add layers, edit layers, delete layers, and then save it. On the left-hand side is what we refer to as components. You can go and create your own components. You can edit existing components. You can take a drawing and convert it into components. It would include things like guardrails, V-drains, trapezoid drains. If you're looking at using a particular component, you can left click, hold it in, and then move it to the position of your red arrow. Letting go of my mouse, it's that easy to position it. Alternatively, if you want to delete a component, you do so by clicking on it. If you're looking for something with a little more detail, I'm going to load another template. This template would be a dual carriageway example, where you got median information and you can go and customize the median. You got sidewalks, you got barriers, pivot points, additional sidewalks, V-drains, and then you could go and specify different cut and fill perimeters. Depending on the amount of cut, it may be that you want to include gabions until eventually the cut is great enough that you'd replace the gabions with retaining walls. You could also go and right click and select add ground and put in your own ground conditions to test the different cut and fill perimeters. Pressing escape, the retaining wall's height is dynamically updated according to the amount of cut and fill. Returning back to our road design, it's very easy for you to put in junctions or intersections within Civil Designer's road mode. To show you an example of this, we go to Junctions, Add Junction, click on the intersecting road, click on the main road. This user-friendly dialog box will appear where you can go and customize things like your coordination interval and which templates to use. Take note that I didn't have to remove curbs on the main road beforehand. Selecting the left curve, we're presented with a dynamic preview here. If I do go and change, let's say, my center radius, the preview would then be updated, giving me a good indication as to what the final product would look like without me actually clicking on OK. Reverting back to what it was, you can go and change lead in with curve and taper as well as lead out curve taper values. The edge conditions with your bow mouth can be changed from linear S-curve, and if you've got a CAD drawing representing the correct elevations, you could utilize that too. As before, you have the option to apply curves. If you want divider islands on the left-hand side, you could incorporate that. Same thing applies to the right curve. Looking at the center island, if you've got this from CAD, you could pick it up from your CAD entities. This is also applicable to the left and the right curve. Alternatively, you could go and specify your own dimensions using this legend on the right-hand side. Once you've specified your information, you can go and save it and then load it at a later stage. Specify where you want the results so you don't have to do additional work to get this information. It is already available to us. The setting out information is presented in the output bar. And then looking at our design, it's been updated accordingly. We also give you what I like to refer to as verification display tools. As an example, I'm going to go and select contours. Switch on the contour display for the entire surface of our roads, not just the edges, and then specify my slope arrows. In addition to this, I can also ask Civil Designer to customize the road shading. If I select Drainage Display, Civil Designer will highlight if you've got flat slopes, which may be a problem for your stormwater ponding. You can go and highlight high points with the elevation and customize these symbols. Same applies to low points. If, for instance, you'd like to put in a curb inlet symbol for your low points, you can do so. The display is updated. Having done this, if you need to go and make changes to your junction, you simply go back to Junctions, Edit Junction, click on the junction. This dialog, as we had it before, comes up again, where again you could go and make changes. If you'd like to alter your bow mouth vertical alignment, you can go back to Junctions, Bow Mouth Editor, select the bow mouth. As you move your cursor in the long section, you'll see there's a big red cross in plan, giving us a good indication as to where we are positioned. I'm going to over-exaggerate the changes made here just to emphasize the functionality. I'm going to say move this vertex to a different elevation, then interpolate the elevations between the start vertex and the end vertex. Same thing applies to the other side. And then ask Civil Designer to insert a vertical curve between a start point, an end point, and a through point. Closing that, no need to save it. Switching off those additional verification tools. When I inserted this junction, I was going through quite a bit of detail explaining what was needed. So in real time, you'd go to Junctions, Add Junction, select your intersecting road, your main road, click on OK. I'm going to turn off the screen output for now, and the junction will be updated. Another reason why I inserted that junction is because I want to take this road, I want to make changes to the left edge, I want to make it wider so I can show you how Civil Designer updates the junction. And then go to a CAD layer representing the new left road edge width. There it is. And then going to alignment, regression. This time I'm then going to select the extract strings. I'm going to pick up the CAD entities. I'm going to alter the left edge of our road. When I do so, I choose to retain the existing crossfill. Select the CAD dash line, right click. Civil Designer will then recalculate the road using our new width. As can be seen, the junction is updated. If we go to Section Graphical Edit and we view the new width of our road, there's the additional width. And then pressing page down, you'll see how the width reverts back. What it was, it's utilizing the previously specified grade. If we revert back to our layout, the layout will then have been dynamically updated. The layout is now dynamically updated with the two additional junctions or intersections and the additional width on the left. We also handle cul-de-sac designs with ease. Show you options available. I'm going to go to Junctions, Edit Junction, click on one of them, and then using my mouse wheel, we could browse through different types available to us. If, for instance, I choose to use this hammerhead, but I'm not quite convinced I've got the right dimensions there, I can then go and update the dimensions, see the dynamic update, and once I'm happy with the dimensions, click on OK. specify if I want the setting out information, and then click on OK. We also handle mini roundabouts with ease. If I go to junctions and I select Edit Junction, click on the mini roundabout, we can go and specify which crossfall to use, or if you want to drape the crossfall on the main road. Specify again the curb that you'd like to use. If you feel that the center island is too small, I tend to agree with you, so I'm going to increase that to double the radius. The mini roundabout will be recalculated with the new specified dimensions. Looking at the signage module. With the signage module, Civil Designer will dynamically update some of the markings and the signage. If you make changes to your road design, it will also calculate the quantities. To show you this, I'm going to road signs, add road sign, specify which library you'd like to use, browsing through the many different options. You aren't limited for choice. If you'd like to filter it out, you can do so. The preview will be updated where you could go and specify the size, material, height, things like the number of supports. And the reason why we give you so many options is because Civil Designer will calculate the quantities for these road signs. Looking at the foundation option, if I go and change that from rectangular to continuous, it would then be updated. Reverting to a stop sign, I'm going to go and turn off the filter, select the stop sign board and the size. I can go and click where I want the signboard to be and then specify in which direction it should face. While we are busy inserting these road signs and these road markings, we're working in a user-friendly 2D environment. Behind the scenes, Civil Designer is creating a 3D model for us, which I'll show you once we're done. Moving on to road markings, traverse markings. Let's put in a skew pedestrian crossing. You can go and customize these dimensions. Click on the start point, and then as you go and move your cursor, the marking would then update. Looking at linear markings, I'm going to purposely put in the incorrect dimensions and then show you how easy it is to update these dimensions via the properties bar. If I right click and select paint settings, Civil Designer will calculate the quantities for your paint and your retro reflective beads. We've got existing paint types and you can go and add, delete and rename them. Selecting the linear marking, looking at the properties, I want to update the start of this marking. I go to Start Change, press Enter, and the marking start position has been updated. In a similar manner, I want to change the offset. I also have the option of customizing linear road furniture, where you can create your own furniture from CAD drawings and then insert them into your road design. Taking a look at what we've created in 2D, Civil Design has created the 3D model for us, which makes it not only good for verification, but also for your presentations. To end the roads mode off with, I can go to area volume, ask Civil Designer to calculate the mass or volume, cumulative volume, layer work volumes, curb quantities. component quantities with their layer works, and that would be things like your V drains, your sidewalks, etc. The road signs, the road markings. Report quantities is a report with all the roads present in the project. They are subdivided into areas, layer works, components, curbs, markings, and signs. You can right click and write all to file, where you have the option of creating a CSV and an XLS file. Further down the list here, we've got default combined. Those are all the roads with their junctions. You also have the option of customizing your own report, where you can go and specify a report type. You can go and customize the roads required for this report. Those roads would now be presented. At a later stage, should you wish to do so, you can right-click, edit report, and change the report type to, let's say, Layerworks. That concludes the road section of the demonstration. If you prefer to see how highways are designed, please watch the highway design demonstration.